United and one that we simply have to win. There are no excuses. Losing another game, particularly a home game, is going to be absolutely catastrophic for United. So let's look into it then. Villarreal, obviously our history against them has been pretty boring, I would say, in the grand scheme of things, but I think it would also be safe to say been very evenly contested, and it's certainly a team that we've struggled against. Now, Villarreal, they've had a strange start to the season. They're currently lying in 11th place. They have only won one game so far this season, and they have drawn the other 7. Yeah, they are unbeaten, but they're finding it hard to beat other teams and finding it hard to get a win themselves. They've only won one of their last 15 games since the Europa League final. 2 draws did come against Atletico and Real Madrid, though, at the weekend. So they're not in terrible form. And they also drew the first game of the Champions League this season, which was a 2-2 draw against Atalanta. United have never beaten Villarreal, which does not fill me with confidence coming into this game in the slightest. I'm going to be real with you. So, how are they going to line up? How do we line up? Because United have got probably 4 changes in the back line alone. So, let's have a look at them. So, last season, Emery tinkered between a 4-4-2 and a 4-3-3. This season, he's sort of opted to prioritise the 4-3-3 more and more, and it's undoubtedly the most common formation that you'll find in football. The fluidity, the angles, the ability to make it more attacking and more defensive just by the movement of midfield means that it's a very adaptable formation. Loads of people like to use it. When they're building up and when they're attacking, Villarreal shifts into a 2-1-4-3, which is something you'll see across the world pretty much. And for the purpose of simplifying things, looks a little bit more like a 3-4-3, very much like a lot of people do. Trigueros drops in between the 2 centre-halves, and it gives them the stable platform to sort of attack from. You'll see there's loads of places. Liverpool looks exactly the same as this, as does United sometimes when it's working correctly. That allows the fullbacks to push wider and further up the field. It stretches the play, gives them openings and options higher and higher up the pitch, and gives them numerical advantage over the opposition in the midfield and in the final third. Also creates a bit of a diamond, which means that they've got a route to go forward and backwards. If they lose possession, they've also got coverage there. Wingers also start narrowing in, and that is where they hurt teams. They create mismatches, overloads, underloads, underlaps, and they do that both centrally and out wide. Moreno, who scored in the final win over United back in May, looks to be unavailable after missing out against Real Madrid at the weekend. And it looks like Chukwueze is also unavailable for them, as well as Danny Rabah and Pino look to also be sidelined. Francis Coquelin is suspended. Pau Torres has returned from his extended holiday early this month, so it looks like he'll be joining the lineup against United. Predicted lineup, I think, will be as follows. Rulli, Pedraza, Torres, Albiol, Foyth, Trigueros, Pajero, Capoue, Danjuma, Alcesa, and Gomez. That's how I think they're going to line up in the 4-3-3. Danjuma is probably the star man. He is the top scorer this season from out wide. He's got 3 and 6. Also scored against Atalanta last week. He is an out-and-out wide man. He's also an outlet for them in possession. Really good dribbler. Always looks to create 1v1s. Isn't afraid to take chances. He's going to be a danger along the left side, especially with Wan-Bissaka suspended. Wouldn't be so bothered about it without Wan-Bissaka being suspended. I think it's probably going to be the low that he lines up against. If it's the low that he lines up against, obviously the low's got his own threats going forward, but he can definitely be found out and found wanting in the defensive capacity. So that's certainly an area that United needs to be looking out for. Villarreal are a very tough side to break down. They're hard to beat. They've only conceded 2 goals in the league so far, and have the second best defensive record in Europe and one of the best so far in Europe. They've got second best defensive record in the league and one of the best defensive records in Europe so far across the top 5 leagues. They average 58% possession, which is 4th highest in La Liga, and they also average the 4th best pass completion, which is 85.4%. So they're not very direct. They are going to look to knock it around a little bit. They like to get it down and play, and they're really good at doing so. They've only attempted 380 long balls so far in the La Liga this season, which is the least in the league, with the nearest team, Betis, that have still had over 100, or Yeah, over 100 more than them with 497. Everything Villarreal do is short, it's intricate. They draw numbers to the ball. They like to pop it. They love a one-touch pass. They play quick and they play concise. And they, as you can see with the accuracy, they play accurately. They only attempted 67 crosses this season, which in the league, again, is the fourth least. In a league that is a low crossing league. They are combative defensively. They are disciplined defensively. And even though United's a team of dribblers, only Real Sociedad have allowed less successful dribblers against them in the league, and that means that they are good 1v1 defensively and not easily beaten. All of this stacks up to an upset tomorrow night, doesn't it? So how do United beat them? Now, for me, I'd want to match them 4-3-3. I really would. But with 3 changes to the 4 defence, he's going to play a 2 in front of them, and I almost couldn't blame him. I think it'll be Tellez, and I think it'll be Delo alongside Varane. The question mark comes in, is he going to go with Lindelof or is he going to go with Bailly? And I think he'll edge to Lindelof because of match fitness and reliability of fitness over Bailly, even though I think Bailly is a more aggressive defender. And I think that suits playing alongside Varane. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was either of them. I'd be surprised if it's Phil Jones. Then you will get my surprise face. But I think Lindelof is probably the more likely option, but I wouldn't mind seeing Eric Bailly. Do not be shocked, afraid, upset, or all over Twitter pulling your hair out when it's McTominay and Fred as a double pivot, because it probably is going to be McTominay and Fred. United are going to look to combat this intricate play with work rate, and that's what they should do. And they're also going to look to protect and screen that back 4, which has got 3 changes to it. 75% personnel change. Let's go with something old and familiar. McTominay and Fred come on down. The good thing is, though, you've got an outlet on the left with Tellez and you've got an outlet on the right, with Delo. 2 players are going to look to get the ball in. That's a very positive thing for Manchester United. We're going to look for these lads to get onto the ball and penetrate into the final third and to put crosses in before the defence gets set. That's very important. Crossing against a set defence with a cold striker, not going to work. Make it a 50-50, put the ball in there and have the striker and the defence running onto it at the same time. The midfield, Bruno, obviously. I'm going to go Sancho and I'm going to go Pogba behind Cristiano Ronaldo. That's what I need to see. Sancho's extremely important in this over Mason Greenwood because he's a creator and he's not looking to come in for himself. And I think he's needing match time and match minutes. And we also know how good he is in the Champions League playing against this sort of opposition. So get him in there, let him run at them, let him create space, let him drag defenders out of the way and let him not be up against a defence that allows him to play narrow or he allows to play narrow. One thing I would like to see from United, though, is this. When you've got Cristiano Ronaldo and you've got players with the ability of Pogba and Bruno, I want to see movement into the box, which Cristiano Ronaldo is very good at. And I want to see United probably look like we're going to be playing it to Delo down the right-hand side and look like we're going to be playing it to Tellez into the final third, into those areas at the side of the box. And instead of them putting a cross in across the face, I would like to see the ball cut back 45 degrees for either Bruno or for Pogba and them to put the cross in there. And with the other midfielder to advance. So it's aiming for 2 targets rather than just 1. That, for me, is an area that United can quite simply add as a tool to our attack that we haven't yet done. And that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing United try and do. You've also got the primary option of just letting the fullbacks hit the byline and whip one in. And that works, again, if the defence is caught cold and you can get in amongst them and look to get behind them. Not good if they're set waiting for it. That's what United need to do. I can see why Matic would play in this game, but I would want to go for pace and energy, and that's McTominay and that's Fred. You need a midfield that's going to be able to win the battle as well as keep the ball under pressure because they do like a little bit of a press and you are probably going to be outnumbered. One of the things I would look to be doing is trying to use Pogba as the playmaker in this situation. Move the ball to Pogba and have Ronaldo and Sancho split and look for their runs to try and stretch them. That's how you can hurt them. Bruno Fernandes should probably have a deeper starting position rather than just being on the shadow striker. I think that hurt us in the final when he was playing out so high. Let's have him come back and get involved in the build-up play because he's a great footballer and his ability for 1 and 2 touch stuff is something that United sorely lack. Get him on the ball and have runners around him. Let's get the best out of him that way. This is a massive, massive game for United, and it's one that we have to get a result in. So let's hope that we can get a result in this. Let me know your score prediction in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.